Hello, everybody. This is John DiMartino, Assistant Team Leader and Productivity Coach at Keller Williams Realty in Coral Springs. And today's class, we're going to show you a brief introduction on how to enter a new listing into the MLS. So again, one of the things I do want to disclose is that I do use Matrix MLS. I do not use Flex MLS. There are some agents in our office that do use Flex MLS. I do not know anything about it, so I'm not teaching on it. I will only teach on Matrix because that's the only system I know. So let's go right into entering a new listing into the MLS. So congratulations, you went in your first listing appointment. They decided to hire you and you have a listing agreement signed. Perfect. So now what we need to do is put it into the MLS. What we're going to do is click on Input, Add Edit, which is going to open up this. Now we're going to either add new or add existing or edit existing. Since this is brand new, we are going to add a new listing to the MLS. We're going to select which form it's going to go on to. Is if it's a single family or a detached home or a mobile home, we're going to enter this first field. If not, we're going to open up the form for condos, co-ops, townhouses, villas, and so forth. If it's residential rental or residential income or land, we're going to do that as well. In this case, we're going to assume that the property that we're going to be using is a single family home. So that's the form that we're going to fill out. Just simply click on that. Now what we need to do is we need to search, get basic information about the property, and we can either do that from previous MLS listings or from a tax record. In this case, let's go from get information that we have from the tax record. We can either search by the address, if we have the folio number or the tax ID, or the client's name. We can pull it up from that way. Another way is through fill from cross property. If the property's already been on the MLS, we can search for it that way, and we can get the basic information from a previous listing. If we don't have anything, we can start from a blank listing and start from scratch. In this case, we're going to start from scratch and we're going to decide if it's active or coming soon, but we're going to say it's active. And this is really just going to show us a wizard from left to right, all the information that we're going to need to enter in. If we click on location information, it's going to give us basic information about the property in the area. This is going to give general information about the property. This is where we're going to enter our personal remarks or a broker confidential directions and other information that we would actually use to get the property sold. So this is your description. This is specifics about the rooms in the property. Additional information about the home, the association, the building, roof, etc., and then financial information. These are some other things that you're going to want to make sure is fully added in here. If you decide you want to submit listing as is, it's going to show a bunch of red exclamation points, red dots that say there's an error. These items need to be filled out. You have to enter in a field for all of these items on all these tabs before you submit a listing. One of the things that I like to do is constantly click validate to see if there anything else on this page that I have to enter in. Another thing that you're definitely going to want to do is make sure you save it as incomplete, because if you get all the way to the very end without saving it as incomplete and you lose it, nothing has been saved and you're going to have to start all over. By listing it as incomplete, we can always go back in here and edit an existing listing. Since it did assign an MLS number, we can find it from our home screen saying this is where we can show our edited listings. In this case, we're going to go back up to add input and we're going to click on the I, which is the incomplete listing. So let's go ahead and fill everything out. Here you're going to put the the basic information that you know about the property. The Broward County. If you're not sure about the area, look at some other listings in the area to find out exactly what the particular area is and put that area code in there. You're going to put in all the information that you could possibly find out, as including the legal description. Now you're going to get this legal description from the tax records. It's a bad example because I said we're not doing a condo. Everything that's highlighted yellow, you have to add. Geographical area. Once you have that area selected, this is automatically going to show whichever geographical area description is associated with that area code. The subdivision name, if you have that, you want to make sure you're putting all that information. If you know the schools in that area, you can click those schools for elementary, middle, and high school. This information down here is if it is a mobile home. If you have the information about the particular model name, you can enter that in. It's not highlighted yellow, so you don't necessarily have to put that in there. Once you have the address put in, you can get the lat and long coordinates directly from the address, and it's going to plot it on a map. Again, what I did say I do like to do after I get off every page, I'm going to click validate and see if there's anything else that I did not enter in, into this particular listing. Assuming that everything else is already good here, we're going to go to general information and just start from the top left and work your way all the way down. So we're going to say this home is not a short sale. This is not a real estate REO or a bank owned or a foreclosure. We're going to say this home is going to be listed at $245,000. It is a no pool, no waterfront. It is a single family home. I don't know all this other information. We know that it's facing east, built in 2007, property condition. Now, if this is a new construction home, we're going to put new construction, or most likely a lot of time we're going to say that it's a resale. HOPA is Housing for Older Persons Act. So if we know that it's a HOPA verified neighborhood, 55 plus neighborhood or age restricted neighborhood, we're going to say it's verified. If we know that it's not, we could say that it's no HOPA. And if we're not 100% sure, we're going to say it's unverified. You're going to go through garage spaces, garage description, if it's furnished, if it's not furnished, how many parking spaces are there, what's the lot square footage. Something we get very commonly asked about is about the square footage. So the total square footage is going to be the entire house, including the foyer, including the covered areas, including the garage. Whereas the square foot living area might be a few hundred square feet less because it's not including the garage or non-livable areas. So we refer to that as under air. So total square footage over here, square foot living area over here. And again, you're going to go through and enter in all the information that you know. If you don't know the information, you don't necessarily have to complete it and fill it out. Obviously, the more information that you put in here is going to be better for your client. But if you don't know, you definitely want to reach out to your client and find out what that information is. Now, there are some of these that is going to say that there's a maximum. So you can only click a maximum of 4 fields in this particular box. If you're not 100% sure, pick the best 4 that matches what that property is. Again, you want to make sure you're clicking validate. I like to go back and leave my remarks to the very end. I want to put all the facts about the property in. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, some information about the master bedrooms, about the master bathrooms, if there's any additional rooms or so forth. So in Broward County, it's not very common where we have to put in the dimensions, however, of each room. If you do have the dimensions of the room, you could just put in the dimensions right over here and then keep adding additional rooms over there. Is additional information about the home, about the property. And then we're going to get to the financial and office information. So I'm going to start from the top over here. We're going to look at the terms considered. Now, when it says terms considered, this really doesn't mean what the client wants or doesn't want. If the home is available and able to be purchased by someone using a VA or an FHA loan, we have to say that it's VA or FHA approved. If we're not 100% sure, okay, we can consult with a lender to see if there's any restrictions on that particular property or if there's any physical restrictions that would prevent it from being FHA or VA approved. If not, if there is, we're gonna say that it's conventional. If it's gonna be a cash buyer. If we know that this property is a cash only property, then it's gonna give us an error code if we have anything else in here. So we want to make sure we put in all the things that we know that a buyer can buy, use as financing. So conventional, FHA, VA, and cash. You don't necessarily have to put this information in right over here. Put what type of home association, if there's a homeowner association, if there's not a homeowner association, how much the and you can put in what the association fee is, and if it's paid monthly or if it's paid quarterly. Don't put in what the total mortgage is. That is for the particular buyer, and they're not assuming a loan, so we're not going to enter that information in. Where it says membership purchase required, this is really going to be for one of those equity membership or country club membership communities. If they do require an equity membership to be in there, there's some country clubs that have maybe a $20,000, $60,000, or even $80,000 membership purchase fee. We'd put that in there at that time. If we know what the previous year's tax numbers are, we're going to go ahead and put that tax number in here. Again, we're going to say that is 5,014, but we're going to assume we are going to put the most recent tax numbers. If we don't know it, we're going to go to the county tax records, find out what that is. Now, if there's any exemptions or anything, we want to make sure we're putting that in there. If we know that it's if this home is reflecting homestead, or if there's a disability exemption, or if there's no exemptions whatsoever, we're going to put that on here as well. Special information about the property. Most of the homes right now are being sold as is. If you have some other information, you may want to put that in here as well. So if you know you have some disclosures that you want to add in, if you're paying a bonus, if there are any deed restrictions, if it's a foreclosure or whatever, you want to put the special information in here as well. Possession information is going to be asking, when are you going to give the buyer the keys? If you're going to give the buyer the keys at closing, you want to put in here that it's for funding. It's at funding. If it's subject to lease, or if you're willing to give the keys before closing, you can put that as well. I don't recommend that. I always recommend funding. That way, I don't care if they sign. I want to make sure that my sellers have the money before they give the keys. It's going to pre-populate your agent information over here as the listing agent and your contact number. And if you're going to be working with an additional agent, a co-listing agent, you can either search for their name over here, or you can manually enter in their license number and it'll pull it up as well. Compensation and miscellaneous information. So for one of the first questions it's going to ask is, do you want the home listed on the internet? Most of the time, we're going to want to say yes. If for some reason we select no, we need to make sure that it does say in the listing agreement that the seller opted out from having the home listed on the internet, which I don't understand why they would do that. So for the most part, we're going to say yes, we want this on the internet. AVM is giving permission to do an automatic home valuation. This is essentially what's referred to as like your Zestimate or your Redfin estimate or your Realtor.com estimate. Blogging, this is if you permit the general public to make comments about that particular property online. I usually do not, and that's going to be based off of what your listing agreement says. And this is going to be address on the internet. Do you want to permit this address to be put onto the internet as well? And that's kind of fallen lines with the same thing with this. If your client does not want the address or does not want it on the internet, you're going to have to make sure that's on the listing agreement where they opted out of those two areas. Listing type is going to be exclusive, right? You're going to put the actual listing date, the date you're going to be going live. If you put it for any other day besides today, it's going to give you an error message and not let you. It's going to show that this is a invalid date until it's ready to go live. So I like to just put it, and it would just put it as today. Owner's name and owner phone number. I never put their numbers in. I always say that the information is withheld. Variable dual rate. If you're offering a 3% commission and for some reason that commission rate may change, whether it's based on the value, whether it's based on an agreement you already made with the seller, you're going to say that this is yes, there is a variable rate there. If not, select no. You have to disclose if the agent is an owner, and also put in when this home is going to expire. Now, this is going to be hidden, and we have to report it to the MLS, but it's not going to be on the MLS for general, all the other agents to see that. Here, you want to put your compensation, whatever it is you're going to be doing there. You're going to put your showing instructions, showings by appointment only, see broker remarks, or assign it through showing time. You can enter in your website address, and if you have a virtual tour from a property, we can enter that in as well. Photo instructions. This gives you one option here, and this is we have to upload at least one photo within, I believe it's 24 to 48 hours after putting it on to the MLS. So we're going to say that we're going to put it on. We just haven't done it yet. We're going to click validate just to make sure that we don't have any more of these red icons, which we do. And then once all those errors are cleared, we're going to click submit listing. Once we submit listing, this is going to make it an active listing. And then your home is now going to be available to every agent out there. But let's say we're not 100% sure about this. We want to save it, but we will go back to it later. Anytime you're leaving it and you're not submitting it, we're going to make sure we save as incomplete. Once we go active, once we go active, let me give an existing listing that I have. Once we click active, this is what's going to come up. It's going to have information about the listing. It's going to allow you to modify it. All right. You can either go back into the full form and make adjustments to it at that point. You can change the status to make it backup contract pending, or if it's withdrawn, or if it's sold. We can adjust the information over here. What I want to do is manage photos. So by clicking manage photos, we're going to add all the photos that we're going to use for this particular listing. We do have to make sure that we abide by the image certification disclosure that's on here. And we're going to click certify and save. Remember, it is against MLS policy and against copyright laws to use another agent's or another photographer's photos or any other commercial photos without the express written consent. So use your own photos, people. If we have any supplements that we want to add, this is anything that we're going to attach to the MLS. We do so like this. Let's just go ahead and select the file, describe what kind of supplement that it is. Let's name it, and we'll click save as well. And that last thing you want to do is configure showing time. By setting up showing time, this is going to prevent everyone that wants to see the house, all agents, from giving you a call directly. They can go right into here and schedule their own showings from here. And again, this is going to be another one of those things where you just start from the top and work your way down. Okay, so are you doing virtual appointments only? Are you doing in-person appointments, or so forth? All right, so put in here if there's an appointment that's required. If it's a courtesy call or a go-in show, which means once the buyer or a buyer's agent, I should say, says, we want to see this home, they're going to get that an approval right away. Or if it's view instructions only, that means they don't have to request approval. It's just automatically going to show the instructions and allow them to enter the property. The contact information is going to show how the people who is going to get the showing requests. and how they can be confirmed, whether it's by text, email, or through the app, and how they can also get notification if a appointment is confirmed or canceled. In this case, I like to get a text message saying that we received a showing, and once I confirm it and I say that it's confirmed, I want to get another text message and an email, so I have that documentation. But I also have the owner will also get an email as well, so that they have it under contract, so that they're advised as well when a showing is actually being scheduled. If there's any appointment restrictions, if they need 24-hour notice, or if it's exclusive showings only, or if there's any showing restrictions, let's say they don't want to show any homes on this particular date at all. In this case, I'm going to say this person is not showing on a particular date, and we're going to say that they're not showing on this one day right here on the 26th. I'm going to save that restriction, but I need to set up a time. They're not showing at all. If they're only not showing from 8 a.m. till 1 o'clock, it's going to block those times off. But in this case, I'm going to say they're not showing at all on that day. Save showing information. It's blocked. This is going to actually prevent a buyer's agent from going in and scheduling during that time. How can the agent access the home? If you have a Supra, or if it's a combination, or if it's going to be access provided by the seller or the listing agent, we can make sure we're putting that in here as well. If there's alarm, you can put in here the alarm information, or if you don't want to enter that information, you don't have to as well. Any additional instructions you want to put in here, or you can add predefined notes if you want to say that there's that there are pets in the property, to leave business card, leave feedback, or so forth. And then you also want to put the driving directions. Once you have everything in here, you should be all set up. All of your listings are going to be showing right in here, and you can always go in and make these changes. This will also show what showing restrictions that you have. In this case, we have the 26th. All day is blocked, and that's it. So every once in a while, I'll ask if you want to update your contact information and everything in here, but we're going to do that another time. Again, if you do need to access your listings that you already put in at any time, you can either click on editable listings over here, or you can click on add, edit, input, add, edit, and you go to quick modify, and you can access the one that you just entered. If for some reason this listing fell through, you decided you're not going to have it, you don't need it before it goes active, we're just going to delete an incomplete listing. Say that yes, that we does have a confirmation. Are you sure you want to delete this listing? In this case, we're going to say yes, we're going to delete it. Submit listing as deleted, and it's gone. It's no longer an active listing. So those are all the steps needed to enter a new listing into the MLS. Again, you do want to make sure that you're complying with all of the association and board regulations, restrictions, and rules concerning information and photos and all the information that you're putting onto the MLS, as well as the clear cooperation. You want to make sure that the clear cooperation policy by the National Association of Realtors is being followed as well. So remember, you can always put in the coming soon campaign or the coming soon status, and that can only be like that for 21 days. If you do select the coming soon campaign, remember two major points of concern. It cannot be shown by anybody during those coming soon 21-day period, and it can only be on a maximum of 21 days before it will go active. If you have any questions, give me a call. My name is John DiMartino, 954-376-9661. And again, congratulations on taking a new listing. Good luck selling it. Bye now.